on YouTube, and I'll stop the share and say, Susan, Michelle, this mic is all yours.
Hi, this is Susan Michel. It is great to be here as always. I am the author of Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity. I teach the transformational truth of A Course in Miracles, which I love, love, love more than anything in this world. And I loved what I just heard from the last group, the last class. Dove reminded me of one of my many favorite paragraphs in A Course in Miracles, which states, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. And that paragraph says it all. I mean, I think any specific paragraph in A Course in Miracles, if we can embody the concept deep enough, says it all. And it's all about trusting that we are always in the right place at the right time. Trust to rely upon spirit totally. When we can really start trusting and stop trying. Trying is when I give control to my ego. Trying is when I'm pushing. Trying is when I'm struggling. Trying is when I'm trying to prove that I'm enough. My ego, my small self, feels the need to try constantly. My true self, my higher self, my God self doesn't need to try at all. My true self needs to trust that God has my back. My higher self just needs to kind of let go and surrender my small will with a small w to my greater will with a capital W. I need to let go of my little self with a small s and surrender to my greater self with a capital S. And that's all about just like letting go and trusting in source energy. And we all have access to that place in ourself at each and every moment. And that is what A Course in Miracles is teaching us to do. My passion is God. And this is how my book starts out. The introduction of Surrender to Joy starts out, my passion is God. God is love and joy and beauty. He is all that is good in the world. Everything else is our own miscreation. Everything else is my fear. When we are filled with joy, we are connected to God. When we are not joyful, we have lost our connection to all that is real. This is my message. It can be clarified with three simple words: surrender to joy. There is nothing to find. All we need to do is surrender. And for me, when I start my day off with a Course in Miracles lesson and a meditation that really helps get my mind in the right place at the beginning of each day. And today's lesson is number 29. Today's lesson is God is in everything that I see. I have all different sections of my book marked right now. So I'm going to lesson number 29, which states God is in everything I see. God is in that window. God is in that picture. God is in that lamp. God is in that pen. And it's interesting how that works because when we see God in one thing, we can see God in everything. And the reason that life works like that is because God is in my mind. So when I am connected to source energy, God is in my mind. And then because God is in my mind, I see him in everything around me. And it's like we all wear glasses, because the mind is all encompassing. So when we wear rose-colored glasses, we see the world in a rose-colored way. When we see green tinted glasses, we see the world in a green way. I used to talk about that when I was giving seminars. So according to A Course in Miracles, when we are connected to source energy and we're connected to the love that resides within each and every one of us, we see that love outside of ourselves. And that is what all of us here are learning to discipline our minds to do on a consistent basis. That's what A Course in Miracles is all about. It is mind training. Um, and I have a cute little story to I guess, reflect that philosophy, reflect that truth, describe that truth. I went to the gym, after my meditation this morning, and I was running on the treadmill, and then a gentleman got on the treadmill next to me, and he was walking, and then he started laughing. So he was walking fast and he was laughing. He had the ear pods in, and he was listening to something and he was laughing. And at first it started to irritate me. It was interesting how that worked because there's this part of me that I like to work out hard and I like to sweat and I like to, I guess just do my 9.30 second mile on the treadmill and focus on my run. And this this guy that was laughing on the next treadmill, you know, there was just this part of me. I mean, to be honest, obviously it was my ego that's saying, now, is this guy doing laughing on the treadmill? He's supposed to be working hard. He's supposed to be sweating. Why isn't he taking his his workout seriously? And and then I realized what I was doing. That was my ego judging him, criticizing him. And I kind of let that go. And then I gave myself credit for drawing this into my energy field because there must be a part of me. If God has but one son, there must be a part of me who's laughing as well. And then when I finished my time on the treadmill, I went into the cycle class, and this gentleman had a bike in the cycle class, and I started a conversation with him, and he told me that was part of his morning ritual. He gets on the treadmill and he walks, so he gets that endorphin energy going, and he listens to Sirius XM. There's a comedy channel that he loves, and he just laughs. And that starts his day off from a positive place. And now I see Zulma is laughing. Zulma, would you like to share?
I'm laughing at the whole story. That's hilarious. How our perception does one thing. Hi, Susan. First of all, how
Hi,
our
Zulma.
perception, our perception, we start analyzing things without having any knowledge at all. We don't know what the heck is going on. And um we never um think it's something good. When someone, walking down the street, somebody stares at us, we think, "Oh my God, what's wrong? Is there something, is something wrong with me?" They may be having a complimentary thought, but we don't know that. We always go to that place. And I'm laughing at you thinking, why is he laughing? He shouldn't be laughing. He should be taking this seriously, only to find out that he needed the comedy, with the humor, which you found out later. That's hilarious. The whole story is funny. And I see Karen. Karen quoted Zuma. I always talk about the story about the blue tinted glasses. If I'm seeing life as, if everything is blue, I'm wearing blue tinted glasses, and I'm saying, why is the world so blue? Why is the world so blue? Not real. The world should stop being blue. Not realizing that it's not the world that needs to change from being blue. It's me that needs to take off my blue tinted glasses. I'm complete. That's a good story though, Susan. Thanks for that.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing. And I even quoted to him when I was talking to him in the cycle room. His wife actually is a Course in Miracles student, which is kind of interesting. He has never heard of it. And I said to him, well, A Course in Miracles says that the separation occurred when the Son of God forgot to laugh. Laughing is so important. And then we started talking about him getting those endorphins going from the fast walk that he was doing, getting the endorphins going from the laughter that he was partaking in, allowing himself to enjoy. And then we started talking. Well, I started talking about, even in the Secret documentary, there was this one case of this woman who had stage 4, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And then instead of going through the Western medicine treatment, she decided to watch a funny movie each evening with her husband. And a short time later, she was in remission, because I truly believe laughter has health benefits to our body. And it says here in chapter 27, let us return the dream he gave away unto the dreamer, who perceives the dream as separate from himself and done to him. Into eternity, where all is one, there crept a tiny mad idea, at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. I mean, I guess we can think of God our Father as being a comedian, because his only will for us is one of joy. I can't hear him speak to me when I have any fear in my mind, when I take life too seriously, when I stop trusting in his guidance. I can't hear his direction. But when I can just quiet that fear, when I can just let go of my fear, when I can let go of my ego, I can hear what God has to say to me. And when I'm laughing, when I'm filled with joy, I can hear him loud and clear, because God is joy. God is laughter. In his forgetting, did the thought become a serious idea and possible of both accomplishment and real effects? Together, we can laugh them both away. Together, we can laugh them both away and understand that time cannot intrude upon eternity. I mean, it's so interesting too. Like sometimes when there's a dire situation that we're faced with, and when we can just like make it into a joke, it's just so easy, so much easier to let go of any fear that we have, because nothing's ever wrong. There's never anything wrong. I know sometimes when I'm fretting about something, and my husband just makes a joke out of it, it just makes life so much easier to navigate, because we're supposed to be laughing all the time. I mean, maybe not literally walking around in hysterics, but internally, to just have part of us that knows that there's never any problem, that is a that is what A Course in Miracles is teaching us to do. A Course in Miracles is teaching us to know that there's never a problem, that we're safe at home in heaven right here, right now. And then it says here in the last sentence of this paragraph that I was reading, it is a joke to think that time can come to circumvent eternity, which means there is no time. So that's like when I have this affirmation that I use sometimes throughout the day, it's very, very helpful. What if everything is just perfect right here, right now? It's accepting life exactly as it is. And when I notice that, and we always can kind of focus in on whatever we want to focus in on. So when I'm focusing in on the joy of someone else, I feel that joy within myself. And again, Zulma, if or anyone here that would like to please share. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say. Karen writes in the chat room, yes, everything is perfect. Oh, right here, right now. Thank you for reiterating that. I think that's a very powerful statement. Just accepting life as it is. So
That's workbook lesson 268. Let all things be exactly as they are. And it starts out, let me not be your critic today, Lord, and judge against you. Let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. And I think it's workbook lesson 313. Is that right, Karen? That talks about my mind is sick. Our minds are sick. We we make up these stories, and it's interesting because as sick as our minds are, we are very creative. We are so creative. We make up stuff unbelievable. If we could write down, if we can turn some of the stuff that we make up into movies and get paid for it. I always call it, running a movie with running a movie with no film in it, making a bad movie with no film. Um, Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity. We're talking about new creation. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity and thus to let it be as you created it. That's what it comes down to. Let it be as you created it. For thus will I be able to recognize my capital S self as you created me. In love was I created, and in love will I remain forever. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? Workbook lesson 268. There it is. That's really what it comes down to, because everything really is perfect. It's the stories that we make up that make it imperfect. We go into wish world. We go into the should house. That just came to me. We go to the should house, the SHOULD house. It should be this way. It should be that way. But we can keep ourselves out of the should house. We'll be all right out of the wish world, trying to distorting reality. Turning into fantasy and all that. If we could just say, "Oh, that's that," and not try to interpret it, try to analyze it, try to make a story out of it, and just look at it as that, and that's that. Oh, okay. And then do as you were saying, Susan, to just be ready to laugh.
I have another kind of funny story. I mean, I guess it depends how you look at it. I was driving with a friend of mine and yesterday, and we were listening to A Course in Miracles on Audible in the car. And we were talking about it. We were really just digesting this information, feeling very connected to source energy, at least intellectually. And then we passed on this rotary people that were picketing about politics. And I won't even tell you why, because I don't, it's just we all have our own political ideas of what's right and what's not right. As we know, the world is very politically divided right now. So the political picketers were on the opposite side of the fence as my friend. So my friend disagreed with the people that were picketing. He disagreed with their signs. So coming from A Course in Miracles Audible, he proceeds to give them the middle finger as he passes. He rolls down the window and gives them the middle finger. And I said, "What did you just do?" And he didn't tell me, but and so I guess part of the reason I'm bringing this up is I knew that obviously he was coming, trying to connect to a place of love and then doing the opposite, in the world. However, I didn't judge him. I just found it kind of humorous, because I know that's happened quite a number of times to me. I come from a place of meditation, and I've been doing my Course in Miracles lesson in the morning, and I come from a place of peace, love, joy, and happiness. And then I go out into the world, and a car cuts me off, and I beat my horn, and I give him the middle finger. I mean, how many of us, I can't judge him because he is me, but it is just very funny how it's a consistent discipline to extend love, because there are a lot of people that disagree with us in all sorts of areas. So it's not a matter of judging them. It's not a matter of defending our position. It's just a matter of, acceptance and realizing that it takes I guess discipline and determination not to let people that disagree with us, not only in politics, but in any way at all, we don't want to let them to affect us, right, Soma?
I was just thinking about, because like you said, we go from one moment, we come out of the kumbaya moment. We were reading that the other day about keeping the peace. We realizing the peace is with us wherever we go. Remember, we were reading from review 1 after
Yeah,
lesson 50.
yeah.
But also in the section on and it talks about the habit of engaging with God. It says the habit of engaging with God is easy if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. The problem is not one of concentration. It's the belief that no one, including yourself, is worth consistent effort. That's big. That's huge.
That's
In that moment,
powerful. I have to say
I
that's
don't, I don't,
very, read that again because it's so powerful. You can miss it, but the way you said it, because the unworthiness lives in us and we
yeah,
don't
Sharon,
feel worthy, right?
it's in it. I put in the chat. I did put in the chat, Sharon.
Okay.
It's
Thanks.
the habit of engaging with God and his creations is easily made if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. The problem is not one of concentration. It is the belief that no one, including yourself, is worth consistent effort. So yeah, I go from my kumbaya moment into a screw you moment. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's like, and I'm looking at you like you're the reason why I feel this way. And I'm the one feeling this way. And that's the whole key to have to keep, Sharon, you mentioned yesterday's book. We had a person who used to be here, Cheryl Valentine, and she wrote a book and it was titled, "Oh my God, it's me. It's me. It's
She is a
always
good
me."
friend. Yeah, it's just like, but I don't think that you're going to take responsibility until the readiness comes. Like I even lost sight of the truth most of the weekend because I was getting involved with somebody that I'm very much like codependent with. It's a sibling, a little sister. So, again, it took me right back, but I found it very beneficial because there's parts in our psyche, or you could say in this seeming body around the solar plexus, where there's all these special relationships, and we just have to be gentle because the specialness has so much guilt. It's just it's laden guilt, special relation. I thought, oh no, but I love my kids. But in that, you're gonna have guilt. So I appreciate you opening this up, Susan. Thank you for this.
Yeah, that's true about the special relationships. I know anytime that we form special relationships, we're singling out part of the sonship, and then we're going to experience guilt. Yeah, thank
Yes.
you for saying that. And then Karen has her hand up. Did Karen, was there something that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I love this conversation. And everything I agree with everything of what you said, Susan. I really loved about when the guy put his middle finger up, you were able to see yourself. You were able to see, well, I do that too. I can laugh at that because I do that too. I'm recognizing that. But what I wanted to share was something because I think about you, Susan. I admire how you work out and everything like that. I think that's amazing. And I can't do any of that right now because of my physical condition. So it's been something that I've been practicing being like we were talking about last week, like Zuma brought up, bringing the piece with me wherever I go. I can't walk. I can't walk more than 5 minutes. I can't do anything. A beautiful day, I can't go outside and walk. It kills me. So this is a practice. This is recognizing that I am not this body. Can I be at peace knowing that I can't do these things and get those endorphins going, release that stress? I am forced to go return the awareness back to my mind and be at peace regardless. And that has been a major practice because it's been very difficult because I'm used to being physical and doing things. And I just thought of you and I thought, just ask you a question. How would you feel if you couldn't do that? Like, you would maybe have to work at that to be at peace because that is almost for me, it was like an addiction, but it was a good addiction, doing something like that, working out, because the benefits, you're releasing endorphins, you're releasing stress, and not being able to do that has been a practice for me to be at peace regardless. And really saying, everything's perfect. This is perfect right now. What am I here to learn? What am I here to learn? I'm learning I am not this body. I'm learning to let go of my attachment to this body. I'm learning that my body is that my physicality is not as important as I put the value on it. I'm letting go of the value until I, can do it again and just being at peace with it. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, like, how would you handle that?
Yeah. No, there's been times that I haven't been able to work out, numerous times that I haven't been able to work out. And what I do is I meditate and I do other things because not all of us can work out. And I mean, I that's what I do. I meditate and I do other things with my mornings. I mean, I've had bodily injuries. I've had surgical procedures that stop me from working out, and I just do other things. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. So when I'm not able to work out, the universe just wants me to connect to source energy using different tools. Because I know I don't need to work out to stay connected to God. I mean, that's not one of the requirements. Um, I guess for me, it's meditation, working out, Course in Miracles lessons. So if I'm not working out, maybe I'm going to start my day with a meditation and a Course in Miracles lesson. Yeah, I'm actually one of there's many friends that I have that don't work out and prayer. Um, we just are kind of all dealt different circumstances in life and we just realize that it's all perfect for our learning. And if you're restricted right now, I mean, that's the perfect place for you to learn how to connect to source energy. Accepting the place that we're at, I think, at least that's what I do when I can't work out. I don't know if that helps, but
Thank you. That
I
was
mean,
perfect. And I love your answer and I agree with you 100%. So thank you. I need to hear that. I need to hear that because sometimes I can still feel some type of way, wishing that I could go out on nice days, when the sun's out and, stuff like that. So it's really bringing that back to the mind, and asking, help me see this differently, help me recognize that everything is perfect. And this is how it is, and everything you said is what I do as well. I'm reading more. getting more spiritual, asking Holy Spirit to guide me in different directions, keeping me at peace, bringing it with me. And it's been helping me in my situations in life, dealing with people and just dealing with myself, really. So yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, I guess one thing I remember is everybody kind of has the same challenge. I mean, we're always doing our best. Most people are doing their best to connect to God, I believe. But we all have the same challenge. And it takes discipline, it takes mind training. Um, I think affirmations, I use the Course in Miracles lesson today pretty repetitively. I was walking up the stairs to my computer to get on Zoom here, and I said, God is in the stairs, God is in my room, God is in my computer, God is in everything I see. I mean, that's what A Course in Miracles is teaching us to do. A Course in Miracles is teaching us to train our mind and stay connected to Christ's guidance at each and every moment. And I know there are certain disciplines that I can adhere to throughout the day to keep me more connected to God. And I did that today, midday. My husband is away. He's away to New Jersey. I live in Massachusetts for a work event, and I had the house to myself. I came home from the gym. I prepared my lunch. I put on the news. I had stopped watching the news for a while. Now, every so often, I listen to the news, and then all of a sudden, I was listening to the news, eating my lunch, and I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to do this. I want to be fully present with my food here and stay connected to the moment. So I turned off the news. I put some fun music on the stereo. I asked Alexa I like Miley Cyrus Flowers is this really great song, and it's all about self-love. It has a really good beat, and she's talking about the fact that she doesn't need a man to make her feel special. She can make her feel special herself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Course in Miracles in a nutshell. Isn't this great? So I listened to Miley Cyrus Flowers, and I have a couple other songs that I feel help me connect to source energy. I put on a candle, I lit a candle, and I focused on just enjoying my food. And there's different rituals that I can do to keep myself connected to myself. And because I think like watching the news is kind of bringing me closer to my anxiety, my ego, my fear. It doesn't have, you don't have to listen to Miley Cyrus, or Adam Levine is another one I like, or the Carpenters is another one I like. That was my wedding song. I have all different music that I like. You don't have to listen to music to stay connected to source energy, but there's different rituals or different things that we can do to keep ourselves at a higher frequency. They say everyone radiates to a certain frequency throughout the day. And Zolma said last time we spoke here, the thoughts create our feelings. So if we're thinking more loving thoughts, I mean, that's basically it. If we're thinking more loving thoughts, we're going to feel more connected to ourselves, and we're going to be coming from a higher vibratory frequency. And that should be, I use the word should. Well, for me, that is my goal throughout the day, to keep myself elevated, to keep myself at a higher frequency. And steps that I can take is accepting each moment exactly as it is, and just being fully present in the moment. Like if I'm around, music is a great way to stay just connected to source energy. I know, using my work as an example, the seniors, they love those oldies music, but Elvis Presley is their icon. So sometimes if they're in a bad mood, I just put on Elvis Presley and you can see their whole face light up. For me, I have different singers that I love, but there are certain rituals that we can follow to keep our frequency higher. Any thoughts on keeping our energy elevated throughout the day?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. This is such a cool conversation, and put on my camera so you can see me. So this is all right. I'm telling you guys this story because I know that you will not only know but believe that what I'm saying is true. I have respiratory issues, which I don't really talk about. I've always had excuse me, problems with my breathing. And so at night when I'm sleeping, I don't have sleep apnea. I don't stop breathing. I don't need a CPAP. I actually my blood oxygen or whatever goes down. It goes down like dangerously low. So because I've had damage to my lungs from sicknesses in the past. So I have to use oxygen. I have an oxygen machine. I turn it on at night. I put on the oxygen and I sleep with oxygen on. So I've had this machine and every year they come and inspect it and everything is fine. Well, just a couple of months ago, even longer ago than that, it started shutting off and making this really loud alarm noise. Excuse me. But I could turn it off and turn it back on, and sometimes it would come on, and sometimes it would do the same thing. Sometimes I would have to try 2 or 3 times, but eventually it would come on and run. And every night when I'm turning it on and it does this, I say, I'm going to have to call tomorrow. Don't let me forget to call tomorrow to get somebody to come and fix this. So this this machine, every night, every night, same thing, same thing, same thing. One night, I had just been here meditating. I got up to turn it on, and in my mind, I recognized, hey, isn't this thing a part of me and a part of God? Isn't this thing a blessing that's been given to me so that I can sleep in peace? Isn't this thing a a a gift, a wonderful thing? And am I not supposed to be blessing this? Shouldn't I just be blessing this? So I did. I started every night, turn it on, I bless it, turn it on. I just stand there and wait with it. I talk to it sometimes. First couple nights, it would come back, it alarm, and I get it back on. About the third night, I said, no, for real. For real. This thing, this, I'm blessing you. I'm blessing you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here. Please work for me so that, I don't have to be concerned. The green light came on. The next night I came to it. Before I turned it on, I'm like, this is going to be the same. I turned it on, the green light came on. Every night since then, I turn it on, I stand there, I bless it, I thank it, bring my gratitude. The green light comes on, it works perfectly. I honestly believe that connecting with this thing and the God that's in this thing has given me this gift, reassurance that yes, you are blessed and this is a thing for you. So I told my husband this, and he about laughed his butt off and said, that's ridiculous. You can never do that. If you could do that, why don't you fix my car, do this, do that? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe maybe if it were the case that that was what needed to happen, it would. And maybe that's what happens every time. we turn something on or do something, that our energy, our divine being connects with that thing and makes that thing work. And when we're, not within our divine being, sometimes things don't work so much. And so, I'm not saying if something's broke that you're not doing it right. I'm just saying, I believe it's absolutely possible that we can do that. And not only possible, but the necessary that we learn that I'm not subject to the rules and the laws of the world, that God has rules and laws. Anyway, I just had to tell somebody that story. Thanks for letting me share.
That's a beautiful story, Lynn. I love that story. I believe that story. I'm learning from that story. I love it. See if 10 years ago, if I told my husband that story, he would probably say the same thing as your husband did. Now he's so into the Course in Miracles mindset that he would believe that also. I mean, not that there's good or bad, right or wrong, but we're all energy, and we, well, it's you're connecting to that higher frequency. You're grateful. You talked about being grateful, and the universe picks that up. Thank you for sharing that, Lynn. Because yeah, I know sometimes when I'm going through changes in life, and this is something that I read in one of my spiritual self-help books. Sometimes when I'm going through changes in life, a lot of appliances around me end up breaking down because they are connected to a certain frequency. And when my frequency is changing, I mean, it's pretty much always elevating itself. And when my energy elevates itself, a lot of my appliances will break down at the same time. And that's happened numerous times on this journey. So,
She has her hand up.
Michaela's hand is up.
Michaela, oh, good. Yes, please.
Hi, I just wanted to say that was really nice what Lynn had said about, your breathing machine, because I work as a nurse, so I'm also a nurse. So that's interesting because those machines, we do get difficulties with a lot of our machines. But, as far as Susan, you were talking about exercising, and that was a beautiful experience with the man next to you that was laughing on the treadmill. And Karen, I've actually seen Karen's x-ray, and it's pretty dramatic there on physical level. But I did want to say that, physically, what I see with my patients, that the body does on a physical level, it's a frequency tone, it does have needs. So we have to breathe, we have to eat, we need water, we can't exist without this. And I have noticed that because on the laws of a physical level, the frequency, the tone is that you will lose your muscle tone as you get older. And then my patients end up getting weaker. So it is important what you're doing, Susan, to exercise. My son also, my oldest son works in the operating room, and he has noticed that too, that it's just the body, it's almost seems like it's a need. So even on my patients that are in a wheelchair and they're contracted, I do home health. I have to go into the home and do range of motion exercises with them, which is what a physical therapist would do. So I have to do it all. And it does really help them. So physically, it builds endorphins. So we do need that. The body has needs, and that's one of the needs. But the beautiful thing too about being a woman, an older woman, that's close to retirement age, is they say in the Native American culture that as you get older, so you go through menopause, and then the change of life. So you stop menstruating. And so they say that it's like the flower, it closes up your chakras on the physical level, close up there, and then it moves up the spiral so that you become the wise woman. So you're open more like a flower on top that's open to receive. And that part of you there in the reproductive area is kind of, it closes off so that as women get wiser then and older, they're the ones that the young children could go to for words of wisdom, which happened back when we were more a tribal type society. We went to the elders for advice instead of, having to go to a judge or a lawyer or court system. And it was these wise women that were that had that wisdom, that were past the menopausal years and were no longer bleeding anymore because that chakra was closed up so that they could receive. So it's just all frequency energy. So I just wanted to share that.
That's so interesting. I love what you just shared, Michaela. That is so interesting. I never thought of it like that, but I just think that's fascinating. Karen, did you want to share?
Oh,
Oh, she has her thumbs up.
I just put a thumbs up. That was great, Michaeli. Thank you. I love what everybody's sharing today. Thank you. So you're all so inspiring to me. Really. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Because
I mean,
it's
this has
true.
been really good, Susan, to come up with this because I mean I'm sick for like quite a while now. It's been a couple months and it's just it helps. It just helps, And Michaela, I just love what you shared. I'm blown away by what you know, what's coming out of your vessel anyway.
Because yeah, it makes so much sense. As I get older, I have more wisdom, but that's interesting about the chakras. It's very interesting because yeah, I'm just not the same as I was when I was younger. And then you always hear that question too, do you want to go back in time? I never had any desire to be younger because although I was physically healthier, I had so many more insecurities back then. Now maybe I'm not as physically strong as I was 30 years ago, just because that's the aging process. But I do have more wisdom. And I'm grateful for that. And as Michaela just said too, to share that wisdom, especially with younger people, is very rewarding, very satisfying. So it's just, as we say, important to accept our life exactly as it is. And as A Course in Miracles says, there is no death. So it's just all kind of chapters and we're all learning, we're all growing. And as one of my close friends, Sherry, always says, it's all good. It's all coming together and it's all good. Um, yeah, so I had different points outlined that I wanted to speak about, and then the talk got better than I had planned. It turned into a group talk, which I love, love, love. One of the topics I was listening to today, my new or one of my steady spiritual teachers recently has been the Circle of Atonement with Robert Perry and his wife Emily. I feel like they're very clear teachers of A Course in Miracles. I mean, there's so many great teachers of A Course in Miracles. A lot of them are in this chat room. We can find clear interpretations all over. But lately, I've been listening to Circle of Atonement, and I pulled up this morning on the treadmill. I was listening to a talk that they gave on the Course in Miracles interpretation of the meaning of sex. And I thought that was really interesting. And they spoke about how Helen Schuckman refused to use the word sex as she was channeling the words of Jesus. She would not say sexual closeness. She substituted sex for physical closeness. And then I Googled physical closeness or I Googled physical in the Course in Miracles now.com site. And what Jesus wrote on physical, it came up in chapter 1, Roman numeral 2, Revelation, Time, and Miracles. And Jesus says that physical closeness cannot achieve it. Physical closeness can never bring us the true connection that we are craving with another person. It says here, revelation induces complete. Revelation is connecting with God, which is what we're all searching for. Revelation induces complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear. It reflects the original form of communication between God and his creations, involving the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships. Physical closeness cannot achieve it. Miracles, however, are genuinely interpersonal and result in true closeness to others. Because I think that's what we are all craving. I mean, we are all craving closeness with our brothers. And it's never, I guess as a young person, I thought that I could get that closeness that my soul was craving through sex. But as an older, wiser person, knock on wood, I believe I'm wiser. I realize what I'm really craving is, connection with God and a connection with my brothers that cannot be attained through sex or any kind of physical closeness. It's something that I connect to through miracles and through connecting with source energy, which is the God within me. That's what I need first and foremost. Zolma, I know
Because
Zolma
that's
has
love.
something to
That's
say.
love. As you're saying that, I'm like, because that's love. Love, I mean, sex is a wonderful thing. Oh my God. It's a wonderful thing. However, when you've gone all up the peak and you've come down off that peak, and then if depending on the time of day, you turn over and it's done. You can't, I don't care how good it feels, you can't maintain that feeling. You just can't maintain it. You can't maintain it. And what we're talking about here is something that's maintainable, something that can't be altered, something that, that there's no highs and lows of love. There's no order of difficulty there. It's always the same. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about here. And we're not saying that we don't, crave physical closeness. A hug is just a wonderful thing. Just that among friends or what have you. That always comes and goes. But one thing, love is always is the same. It just is always the same, as long as we're recognizing it for what it really is and not putting conditions on it. Because when we do I'll love you if, as opposed to I'll love you even if, that makes all the difference in the world. It's always the same. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're craving. Something that's constant, something that's certain. And then God is certain. Source energy, as you call it, is certain. That's the one thing that's certain.
Lynn said, why would Jesus talk about sex? What about chocolate cake? That's a great point. That's funny. And I love what you just said about being constant too, because love is very constant. Love is very consistent. We don't need to you don't need to experience the highs, because sometimes that sexual gratification, if it's misused, can you turn into a high. And then, especially if it's in a special relationship, I remember years of special relationships, it turns into a low when that fix isn't there anymore. And I think love, there's really no highs and there's no lows. It's just always there. It's consistent and it's peaceful. And you made me think of something else that came up for me this week. I have a couple of agents that I work with. I come from a modeling background years and years ago, and I just started dabbling with it recently when I lost my full-time position. And I have a couple of agents, and I know one of them, and they're both like so sweet. I mean, they're just so sweet and so nice, but one tends to get really high and then really like hard, let's put it that way, really like overly loving, and then really like down on me when I do something different than what he wants me to do. So it's like, I love you, and then, oh, you did it wrong, and I'm not judging. I'm just thinking about how that makes me feel. And then I have another agent who's very consistent, like she's very even key. She never gets too high and she never gets too low. She's just very like even key. And it makes me feel so much safer because it's just calm. It's just her energy is, and this is just what I'm seeing, is her energy is very even. Again, to stay away from the highs, to stay away from the lows. Because when we get too high and something goes wrong, then we crash and we get too low. And in my mind, that's egoic. That's how the ego operates. That's when our sense of peace, that's when our sense of self is dependent upon the world. We get really happy when things are good and really down when things aren't so good. But God isn't like that, God is just, I believe, my God, the God that I strive to connect to, is very like even keel. And I'm learning to develop that quality within myself, to stop becoming dependent upon the world for my happiness, because I don't want to get so high, because I know when I get so happy about something good, then I get really sad about something bad. I don't want to be like that. If I'm just connected to source energy all the time, it's just this balance, that I can tap into whenever I want. And it's a really beautiful way to live, because I've lived like that on numerous occasions. And that's when I can feel the true peace of God.
There's a place in the course in the section called The Appointed Friend. And it starts out, anything in this world that you believe is good and valuable and worth striving for can hurt you and will do so. Not because it has the power to hurt, but just because you have denied it is but an illusion and made it real, and it is real to you. So if that person who's always even keeled all of a sudden wasn't, you would feel like, wait, my whole world is being turned upside down. But at the same time, using her as the example, she that's a good example of a comparison to God with that certainty. This is one thing, at least in form as she is right now, something you can count on, that this is always certain. But that actual person is not, because any day,
Right.
at any moment, anything can go topsy-turvy. So that's why it's always important, as we're taught, seek first the kingdom, to go in, because that's where it really is. That's where it really is. Yeah. Yeah. And as Karen wrote in the text, special relationships come in many forms, even chocolate cake, Lynn. I love it. I love it. This is great. Thank you, Susan. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this was so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
I sent you a
Vilma
text
and
message.
Lynn and
Sent you a text.
Karen and
I sent you a
Michaela.
text.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you for your text. Thank you. Thank
yes.
you. Yeah,
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
just being here. And yeah, and on that note, I always end with the Course in Miracles introduction. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. The only thing that's real is the love. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for this platform. I love you all.
I love you.
And I will now return the microphone to Lynn, and I believe there's another speaker.
Thank you so much, Susan, Michelle. And yes, excuse me.